Hashem's Vasai Tivtach Ufi Agitilasecha. We're now in the fourth and final parak of Yoel. In this parak, we're continuing of what is going to happen ba'achras hayamim, on the day Hayom Hagadol V'Hanora, the day of Mashiach, the timing of Mashiach. Hinei Bayamim Hahima Ba'is Hahi. What's going to happen? The first thing is Ashuv Shvus Yehuda B'Yerushalayim. There's going to be that the Bnei Israel and the Yehuda are going to come back to Yerushalayim, and Hashem is going to gather all of the nations into this place called Emek Yehoshaphat. Was Emek Yehoshaphat really a place? Maybe yes, maybe no. The word Yehoshaphat has Hashem Yishpot. Hashem is going to be reckoning, the day of reckoning, the day of judgment. And Hashem is not going to judge just us. No. This is going to be a day of reckoning for the other nations. The nations that did what? That attacked us. Nachlasi Yisrael asher pizu bagoyim ve'et artzi chiliku. My people that they scattered among the goyim, and my land that they divided. But really, if you think about it, Hashem commanded, so to speak, the other nations that attacked us. Everything was in the plan of Hashem. So how could it be that in this day of reckoning, the enemies are going to be held to task? So perhaps, and this is what we've spoken about in the past, that it really wasn't that the other nations are going to be punished because they attack Bnei Israel, but how they attack Bnei Israel. The degree to which the Nazis were so evil, that's the day of reckoning is going to address. The degree to which the pogroms and the crusades and the way in which with glee and with zest and with zeal that we were attacked and that we were scattered, that is what is going to be held, how they're going to be held to task. And also, if you hear in this word, Nachlasi Yisrael, we are the Nachla of Hashem. We are the chosen people, and Artzi, the land of Hashem. And it's interesting because I think it was Rav Kook, in 1929, there were real decisions that had to be made as to when the British mandate what land. They said, if you give us the Kotel, then this will all be over, and there were real ramifications. This is the land of Hashem, and He gave it to us. We can't just give back the land freely and without pause. And so here, again, the Nachla of Hashem, and we are the people of Hashem, and they're going to get their day of reckoning. For what did they do? They made us into Yelad Lozona, Yelda Machru B'yayin V'yishtu. We were sold into slavery, and we were treated, and our children were treated badly. Now, the next pasuk in pasuk Daled talks about Tzor and Sidon, that they're going to get their day of reckoning. And who were they? They were traitor nations. Like, why are they mentioned as the first nations to be attacked? And this is a musar for us. Hashem hates cruelty. These people were traitors. They didn't need to do anything. They weren't doing Hashem's bidding for Him. They weren't the recognized people that were supposed to bring us into Galus. No, they were just traitors, and they were also supposed to be our friends. We were supposed to be allies with them. We traded with them. And so Hashem says they're going to get their day of reckoning because you can't be cruel. That's not okay. And everything that they did, they sold us, and how they sold us, how they took our stuff, it's all going to come back. Because they took our gold, they took our silver, they took our treasures. Perhaps that's talking about actually, they made us into an economically barren nation, but also who's the gold and the silver of the Beis Hamikdash. And the gold and the silver, Hashem says, the Torah, you can't learn Torah when you're a slave. It doesn't happen that way. And the Bnei Yehuda and the Bnei Yerushalayim, Machartim of Bnei Hayavanim, and just you sold them, and you sold us into slavery, and so for that you will be punished. And Hashem, again, the idea of punishment of the Goyim, why is it important? It's important because we understand the concept of Midah Keneged Midah. We understand that Hashem runs the world, and it's Hayahova V'yiheh. It's not just that He created the world, it's not just that He wills something, but everything has a purpose. And it's interesting, when the nations are going to come, there's a Gemara that talks about when the nations are going to come in this day of reckoning, the people of Edom are going to say, oh, we really did everything for the sake of the Jews. It was all part of our plan. Like we were doing the work so that the Jews would be able to learn Torah better and flourish. This was not our intention. Like we were just doing what you told us to do. And Hashem says, Shutim Sheba'olam, you idiots. Hashem doesn't say you liars. He says, you idiots. I know exactly what your intentions were. It wasn't good. Why? Because that is actually the intention of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He did. Everything was to do the bidding. And so here, you're going to get Midah Keneged Midah, but ultimately, Hashem made the Bnei Yisrael, Klal Yisrael, go lower because we needed to, for whatever the reason was. And anything that was built, and anything that was done, was all done for ultimately the greater purpose of HaKadosh Baruch Hu making himself and us be at our best. And then there's going to be an interesting pasuk in pasuk Yud. Kutu itchem v'charbot u'mizmaraseichem l'ramachem v'chalosh yamar gibor ani. And this is the opposite of what we have in Yehoshua. Here you're going to make the plowshares into swords and the pruning hooks into spears. In Yeshayahu we have that the swords are going to turn to plowshares and the spears are going to turn to hooks. And here it's going to be the opposite. And there's going to be, again, this is the war Gog and Magog. It's going to be terrible, and it's all going to be any nation that attack Klal Yisrael are going to be taken down, and the nations that and the Shemesh and the Areach, again in the Kochavim, we've had this imagery before. They're going to get darkened, which reminds us of, again, the Arbe that Yoel prophesied in the beginning of the Sefer. But here it's going to be the day of reckoning against the other nations, and Hashem is going to roar from Tzion, Hashem mitzion yishag v'Yushalayim mitin kolo, and He's going to roar, and that the Ra'ashu Shamayim, the Aretz, the heavens and the earth are going to shake and tremble. But Hashem mechasel la'amo u'ma'oz of Bnei Yisrael. Hashem is going to create an iron dome, and that iron dome is going to be strong for Klal Yisrael. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take over, and He's going to bring us all back. And from the Har Tzion, there's going to be water and all the good things. Nature is going to change. The Harim Asis Agvaos Tivalena. Everything is going to drip and be flowed with milk and honey. Chalav v'chol apikei Yehuda yochu mayim umayin. Is it Torah? Is it really this natural produce that is going to be so bountiful? And it's going to be amazing for Klal Yisrael. And what's going to happen? Who's going to be attacked first? Mitzrayim and Edom. And why is this? Again, HaKadosh Baruch, who is Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim, Hagar, that's Yishmael, and Edom is Rome. These are the two worst nations to us. They were related to us. And Hashem, again, He hates the idea of disloyalty. He hates the idea if you have an alliance, an allegiance, and you have something of a connection, you don't break your bris. And the bris bein Masarim, the bris that we have, bris milah, everything is a covenant. It's an idea. It's a bond. You don't break bonds. And these two nations were terrible throughout history. They did way worse than they should have, and they also we were related to them. And it just was this natural hatred that continued. And Hashem says, and this is such an important pasuk, Asher dam naki ba'artzam. Why? Because Hashem, you spilled blood that was in their nation. And Chaf Aleph, V'nikesi damam lo nikesi b'Hashem shochem mitzion. Hashem does not take the spilling of Jewish blood lightly. It will never go unnoticed. And we see this in Avarachamim that was added during the time of the Crusades and the pogroms, because it is something that is so hard. Klal Yisrael has experienced so much loss, so many Rahman al-Islam, there are so many people that have been killed, and Hashem says, I will never forget that, and they will get their retribution. And so we end off the Sefer. We started with this idea of Arbe that's coming and attacking and the punishment that we're getting. But Hashem ends and says, I love you, and you are not going to go. Anything that was attacked you is going to mita k'neg mita. They're going to get their retribution. I would never punish my beautiful Eretz Yisrael, Klal Yisrael, without them getting retribution. And there's going to come a time soon. Perhaps Gog and Magog is just a combination of many, many wars and many difficulties that we've had all throughout the course of history. And so we're really at the point of almost getting to that final part of the Geula, and Hashem says they're going to get their retribution, and you, my dear Eretz Yisrael and Klal Yisrael, are going to be beautiful and bountiful and amazing. What a beautiful way to end Sefer Yoel. Chazak chazak v'nitzchazik.